pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. This was one of my mother's favorite scriptures, and I'm delighted to tell you that Mom would have it no other way than what this gathering exemplifies. It is the epitome of unity among friends, well-wishers, churches, communities, and most importantly, families. The tremendous love and support conveyed to us throughout this difficult time was remarkably humbling. It's indicative that my mother's life was a force to reckon with. The last 2 weeks in August we spent together, and I remember asking her if she was tired, by which she understood what I meant. And she said, no, I just want more of God's grace. Yes. But if He is ready for me, I am ready, because I know it is well with my soul. After all, the circumstance by which we are here is the reality that we all need to understand and draw for our reflection. It is only appropriate that I acknowledge and express gratitude to everyone. So on behalf of my family, I would like to acknowledge all officiates of the United Pentecostal Churches, other denominations, political entities, the congregants, and the overflow. Thanks to everyone for the myriad of condolences and for reaching out to us through the various means of communication in a technology-savvy world. Sincere thanks to the many friends and families who have traveled across the miles to be a part of this bittersweet occasion. Thanks to Pastor James Smith for your continued pastoral care, to the family, especially to Mother Howell. Thanks to Bishop Galbert Clark for considering her early request to share a message of hope to the hopeless and to comfort our weary, aching hearts. Not of works, lest any man should boast, but I believe I'm compelled to do so for this special lady, Jamina Batiste, better known as Aunt Azel, one of my mother's sisters who dedicated her whole life to the responsibilities of my mother up to the very minute she transitioned. Amen. To Kalila, Wesley, and Ricky, your help will be forever noticed. Thanks to my younger brother Adrian for making Mom one of your daily priorities. To the remaining siblings, her grand and great-grandchildren, special nieces, nephews, thanks for staying connected through the social media groups, but above all, through prayers. I could continue to elaborate in this fashion, but time is of the essence, and words are insufficient. So without further ado, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Most of you are aware, but for those who are not, I'm Juliet, the ninth of the 13 precious gems from Ashley and Pearl's jewelry. Admittedly, this is a very challenging time for my family, but more of an emotional roller coaster for someone who is commissioned to eulogize loved ones. History repeating itself is an overstated expression when the timeline is striated by margins of tangible and personal loss, and in recent time as September 22, 2018. Losing my mother is a deeply painful experience. My mind wants to reject it, but it's the absolute reality. When my son heard of her passing, he said, "Mommy, this generation needs the praying grandparents, and now I don't have any more of them to pray for me." Thankfully, he recognized one of the most important values of grandparents. So for those who still have their parents or grandparents, honor them is the first commandment with promise. May 12, 2001, at our father's homegoing celebration, my brother Horace sang, "I've got a feeling everything will be all right." Let me reassure you again, regardless of my emotional disturbances, everything will be all right. And it is also sweet to know one day we'll meet. Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he dies, shall live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this?" She responded to him, "Yes, Lord, I believe." And on Saturday, October 5, 2019, 9:15 in the morning, at the Sentence Bay Hospital, bed 7, the candle of light extinguished its flames, and she was taken from the heightened state of alertness to the most profound state of sleep. And in that very moment, the great physician presented Mrs. Pearleta Turtle Howell her celestial discharge. David said, "Weeping endures for a night, but joy comes in the morning." Let us abound in the joy of the Lord, which is our strength, as I take you through a kaleidoscope of memories that personified a phenomenal mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, mother-in-law, sister, sister-in-law, aunt, niece, cousin, and friend. January 12, 1939, the most precious pearl came into this world to Clifford and Marcella Brown in Kingston, St. Andrew. She was patented with the title Pearleta Turtle Brown, dubbed by many as Sister Pearl, but her children called her Mama. Mama relocated with her parents to the parish of St. Anne, where she completed her formative years in early childhood development and her secondary academic studies. During her adolescent life, she acquired several skills, including cooking, dressmaking, and gardening. With a prospect to fulfill her dreams, she sought employment and was hired as a caregiver to work for a small family in Lime Tree Garden in the same parish. She remained an ardent worker to her employer until she found what was more delightful. Mom grew up with strong parental and pastoral leadership, which was a positive influence on her personal relationship with the Lord. She got baptized at an early age, and in 1984, at an open-air crusade in Sentence Bay, she spoke in tongues as the Spirit gave utterance. Someone found favor in the Lord when he found this virtuous woman. Enchanted by the price above rubies, the tongue with the law of kindness, he presented to her, like an auctioneer with his paddle stick, wholeheartedly offering his diamond. Fortunately, it was an impressive no-contender bid, and on April 26, 1959, Ashley Joseph Howell took her on a journey into love. She remained his loyal companion, and together they produced the 13 precious gemstones. 18 years ago, after 42 years of connubial bliss, he predeceased her. Eager to embark on her marital milestone, Mom and husband moved to Bog Hole, Clarendon. She established her family, schooled her children, and joined the Bethlehem Tabernacle United Pentecostal Church. As an active member, she volunteered to clean the church, served as Sunday school secretary, ladies auxiliary president, first lady, and now this little country church choir, Rock of Ages, will never sound the same. Her charismatic and spiritual qualities and dedication to the church earned her the respectable title Mother Howell, a woman of force and power, family-oriented, selfless, compassionate, stern, and comical. These characteristics were not just surface traits, but noble qualities of human endeavor. Mama saw her children or family as a God-given treasure. Among her 13, she nurtured many others who fell in love with her at first encounter. She created all of us with the love of Christ, disciplined us with care and wisdom, and trained us in the way we should go. One of her greatest moments was to see all her children, grand and great-grandchildren living for the Lord, especially when she heard that Caleb, one of her youngest grandsons, who just turned 7, got baptized. Her children were the light of her life. She was very proud of us, even when we were not living virtuously. My lasting impressions of Mama were simply her hard-working, passionate figure of strength and resilience that shouldered on to keep the family together after the passing of my dad. She could have thrown in the towel. She could have said, "I can't do this anymore." but by the substance of things hoped for. She held on to the all-sufficient grace, and like a merchant's ship, she provided food and meat and fed her children. She worked willingly with her arms, making outfits for us, window curtains, tablecloths, sheets and pillowcases, and other tapestry for her home decor. Each member in our household had his or her own kneeling pad, a representation of our mantra, the family that prays together stays together. She was an accurate record keeper. On the first page of the family Bible was a concise log of family events, including baptisms, births, deaths, graduations, marriages, among other accomplishments. She was a faithful tither and a wise spender. She bought only the necessities, paid her bills on time, and provided money for our school. She girded her loin with strength to polish the floor, washed our clothes, and braved all conditions of the weather, planting crops to sustain her family and to give to those in need. Mom experienced more than her share of tragedy, losing her husband, a daughter, and a year ago, her first and oldest son. However, her love for her family and her faith in God gave her the strength to endure and to love life without bitterness. She also instilled in us to show gratitude for every day we share together. Mother Howell embodied an understanding of compassion, putting her own ailments aside to care for the elderly, the sick and shut-ins in the community. Her home was also a welcome haven to visitors for fasting, prayer meetings, family gatherings, boarding accommodations, among other social events. Mom was a stern woman with a discipline underpinned by good morals and values. She had a no-nonsense approach, a tell-it-like-it-is attitude, pure in her intentions and true in her actions. She preached a specific message that compelled us to act in a certain manner, which means, as children, we were not to be seen in adult conversations. We should bless our meals, no matter the lean or the cuisine. Say our prayers every night and acknowledge every member of the household, from the oldest to the youngest, saying, "Good night, Mama," "Good night, Papa," and so on. Morning prayer meetings were mandatory. If you think you were not going to wake up for that, you were sadly mistaken. Going to church or kneeling at the altar was not an option, and it comes with a personal reminder, your soul is precious. Sister Pearl loved to travel and was fearless. Her only affirmative was, "Ajina, come to me." On one of her trips to the USA, Ajina was driving at moderate speed to the airport, and cars were passing by rapidly. Mom said, "Wait, so I carry a drive too? Or you just make everything a pass yourself?" I don't believe her expression was for the love of fast driving, but more like wanting to be on time. On another occasion, she was in the airplane with her sister, and as the plane angled with the force of gravity, her sister screamed in fright. Mom yelled at her, "Shut up your mouth, you're too coward." Mom lived her life with a mischievous sense of humor that bent you doubled. She could mimic a person to the T without you guessing. Even when situations were against her, she remained cheerful. Last year, she went to visit her son in the hospital, and while getting out the car, she lost her balance and fell. When the doctor checked her vital signs, he realized that her blood pressure was high. He asked her, "So, Mrs. Howell, why is your blood pressure so high?" She responded, "Me don't know, doc. It must get frightened when me drop." Her humor was also captivated by neighboring patients in the hospital who stayed up late at night to be entertained by her. And she used it as a motivation to them to be resilient during their most difficult times. Mom left a trademark of legacy. In whatever capacity we are represented, we are her legacy. 11 children, 32 grandchildren, 43 great-grandchildren, 2 sisters, nieces, nephews, in-laws, cousins, well-wishers, church family, and friends. I am sure we will be forever grateful for the way she impacted our lives. My siblings and I are especially proud to have lived in Pearl's house, played in Pearl's yard, and walked through Pearl's gate. The experience captured in our memories will remain in our heart while her physical presence departed. Our challenge is to accept her passing into the narrative of our lives without destroying anything with our grief. However vast or deep it might be, it can be invigorating, strengthening, and above all, a powerful reminder of how Mom's life mattered and always will. Romans 8 verse 18 reminds us that the suffering of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed to us. Let us acknowledge the presence of royalty. Heaven's halls are silent. David lays down his harp. Mrs. Pearleta Turtle Brown Howell, Sister Pearl, Mother Howell, Mama, has graduated amongst seraphim and is teaching angels how to sing. Give God the glory.
Praise God. It's not working? Is there another? And praise God. A little loud, sorry. So before I get started, I want you to first be able to work through this Midwestern United States Chicago accent. So my mother-in-law kind of jokingly talked to me about that this morning. I am, as I affectionately know her, Aunt Pearl. AP, I am her nephew through my wife Sharon. Young people, I want you to take note of what just happened here today. There are several messages from the elders here and others who got up to speak, but what I would offer, I have traveled the world. I've been near a lot of death. I've been near a lot of life. But I can tell you, I've never witnessed anything like this here today. Amen? I've never witnessed anything like this here today. So if you're young and you're sitting in the audience, 10 or above, I'm going to challenge you to think about how you live your life from the first breath you take to the last breath you take. That's what this service here today was about. A legacy. I heard that mentioned over and over. That was a recurring theme. How someone lived their life, how you will be remembered. I pray that I am worthy of half of this. I pray. So, it would be remiss if I didn't leave you with a couple of quick things, and I realize that I'm the only thing that's standing between you and dismissal, and a couple of other things, as I'm reminded. So Aunt Pearl, as I affectionately know her, my dear memory, my daughter, Camille, 11, should be outside. Aunt Pearl taught her how to take her first steps. We were there in Tennessee, so I'm a career Navy officer. With my wife, we were there in Tennessee, and Aunt Pearl was there with us. She loved to follow everybody everywhere, and you could never say no to her. You never say no to her. And even if you did, she was going to be there. So that was just Aunt Pearl. Everybody knows, right? So we're there. We're trying to teach Camille how to walk. We give up. She's 9 months old. Aunt Pearl says, "Hush, give me the baby." She takes my daughter. Wife and I are doubtful. Within 3 minutes, she's taking her first steps. That's Aunt Pearl. Within 3 minutes, she's taking her first steps, and she was walking since then. Aunt Pearl found her way into everything we did, and God, I could go on and on forever. But there are two more things that I got to share. She helped me whip 3 young men into shape. We had 3 boys, all close in age. And I will tell you, and it was said here, when we got up on Sunday mornings to go to church, Lord forbid they were late or running late. She was there, nudging her way in. Get up, let's go. No excuse, let's go. And I just leave her alone. I let her do her thing. But they became used to her. They got used to her, and they would try to slide around her and evade her. And it was just funny watching them play games with her. And I remember her pinning the middle one against the wall. We were headed out. She looked at him and said, "Me no go, you no go." That was Aunt Pearl. And my last memory of her, we were in church. I opened my wallet to give to the offering. I took the larger bill out, put it in the offering. Aunt Pearl was sitting next to me. She looks over, she spies the remaining content in my wallet, and she nudged me. "Give it up." So I gave it up. That's just Aunt Pearl. That's who she was. And I won't say you have a wonderful mother and a wonderful and a beautiful family. I've had the pleasure of having the opportunity to spend time with the majority of you, your family. I love you. I'll always love your mother. She's wonderful. God bless her soul, and thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Come and bless the Lord, everybody.